Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Well, today we're looking at Psalm 119, verse 120. Now, again, we're still in this, I guess we could call it the dark section of the covenant idea. But this concludes this 119th Psalm, and it concludes it with an important point, that in covenant, judgment exists. So, as we are in covenant with God, we live in the fear of the Lord because He's righteous and we're not. So, here we have in 120, and I'm going to read 120 for us today. My flesh trembles for fear of thee, and I am afraid of thy judgments. I have in my translation, due to the dread of you, my flesh creeps, and from your judgments I fear. That is, I learn fear. I am afraid of thy judgments, or I learn fear by your judgments. And that is fear not in the sense of, the creepy movie kind of fear, that you're scared, but reverent fear. I know to be reverent now because I'm in covenant with a holy God. And as in covenant with a holy God and a righteous God, I know that, I need to be reverent before Him. I need to respect Him and show Him honor and glory because I love His testimonies. Because your word I love. Because I'm one to keep your commandments. And so I revere Him because of that. But also, there's the threat of punishment in covenant. So if we break covenant, for example, let's just go back to every day-to-day example. If you're in covenant with a company and you break covenant with that company, what's going to happen? Well, there's always the threat of arbitration. And in every covenant, there's probably some section, some boilerplate language in there about, if things go sideways, how do we arbitrate the differences? And so the law then comes into play. And it depends on what's happened and how the covenant's been broken as to how deeply the law comes into play. You don't want that. And same thing with covenant with God. You go back to Deuteronomy and you look at the blessings and the curses. If they keep covenant, then the blessings apply. But if they break covenant by worshiping other gods, going after other gods, then curses apply. So every covenant, no matter what it is, whether it's secular or religious, has a section, provisions for if something goes sideways, if something is broken, if the covenant is not kept. The same thing happens in marriage. If the covenant is not kept, what happens in marriage? The marriage is dissolved, and usually there's some form of punishment one way or the other towards each of the individuals involved in the marriage. Now today we have what we call no-fault divorce, and that's a farce. There's no such thing as no-fault divorce. Somebody's at fault. And when covenant is broken, somebody has to stand to it. So it's just for us to say that we can just dissolve a marriage just willy-nilly and it doesn't mean a thing. No, marriage is a covenant taken before God, before witnesses, and we are responsible before Him and them for what we do. So here when he says, the dread of you, my flesh creeps, or as the King James has it, my flesh trembles for fear of you. Well, yeah. Why? Because I know that there is involved in this covenant, which I love, and according to the confession that I've made and the prayer that I've made, I'm going to keep it, but there's still that threat that keeps me or helps me. It kind of restrains me from my inclination to break it. So it's a fact. It's a point of honor, and it's a point of restraint, so that I can have control over my own spirit as I walk in covenant with God. Due to the dread of you, my flesh creeps. From your judgments I fear. All right, friend, join me again next week, and we're going to look at verses 121 through 128 in the Iron Division. And we'll have that next time on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.